My name is Oscar. I'm 54 years old, and I'm in cancer.
My name is Chris Martin. I am just turned 58. I am an Aquarian through and through, and I am an entrepreneur in the marketing area.
Okay.
Marketing business.
And how long have you two been together?
21 years living together.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we, connect each other and travel each other to the different places that we were. And that was for 4 years almost. 3 years, actually, right?
The dates always change when this was.
Okay, right.
I think
I
it's
thought
2
it
years.
was 30 years.
Well, living together 21.
Well, you came here in 94.
No, I came in 97. 98, 97, yeah. That,
So you're right, you're right. Your math is better than mine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It
It's
seems
21.
It seems longer to me. I was vacationing in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And it was my first day there, and I had booked this cabana on the beach, and I was on the porch reading in the hammock, and it was idyllic, this beautiful water, the sun was setting, and here comes this man walking down the beach, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
So I just went back to my reading, and and he walked by, and I turned around and I said, if he looks back, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to go and walk out on the beach. And I kept watching, and then he turned around and looked back, and I was like,
That's what I said, yeah.
I'm going to walk. And we kept walking, he slowed down, and finally we were walking side by side, and we started talking.
It's interesting how now is the first time in all these years that I heard what he was thinking about.
Right.
We have been talking about it. Yeah. We have been talking about this many times with many people, but he never mentioned, like he just mentioned about what he was thinking, he turned around wherever, And wow, it's interesting.
I needed that sign, because I didn't want to get up and start following you down the beach and being creepy or anything.
No, I know. No, I was not.
It's true, it's true.
And that's what happens sometimes. But again, the way that he approached, and not approach, because the way that we interact each other in that moment, to talk, and we exchange wherever, names or where you sit here. And the next day, he surprised me. He came to pick me up at the Ritz-Carlton in Cancun.
I was going to ask, so were you guys able to date traditionally, or was it just long distance?
We had a vacation romance for about 7 days, and I was kind of blown away, but my mind was telling me, this will never, everything about this is not going to work. So don't get your heart caught up here. And we exchanged numbers. Well, no, I'm just saying, there was a reality check about it. And so we exchanged numbers. I was dating someone here, and I got back. You're laughing like you don't know all this information.
It's true. That's how it works. It's
But I came back, and we didn't speak for a year after that vacation.
Wow.
But because again, I had kind of said, "Oh, that was so awesome," but I'm back here in Atlanta now, getting back in the swing of stuff, But after a year, I could not stop thinking about it and him, and finally dug out the number that he gave me and called, and we connected after a year.
And the moment when he told me the number, I missed 1 8.
Oh.
And I was like, all the time when I tried to do it, it's like no, it's not. This is no number. And I said, well, maybe he's wrong, or maybe, you know, something happened. Until, you know, again, he contacted me back to the hotel when I was working.
Okay.
The hotel is interesting because they usually they don't give you personal things, you know. But that day, for some reason, that message came to me. It's like, hey, Oscar, we got this call from this gentleman from Atlanta. You can call him to this number.
In my entire life, I have never been totally surprised or you know, sidewhacked or whatever. You know, no surprise birthday party, anything, nothing like that in my entire life. And one day I was in my apartment, it was evening, it was about 9 o'clock, and I'm sitting watching television, and I hear a key in the door, and I'm like, oh my God, somebody's breaking in. And the door opens, and there he was. He came all the way from Mexico here, kept the secret, didn't tell me.
I love it.
And just showed up, and I mean, I was speechless.
That was kind of weird for me. I mean, it was great. I mean, that was my plan, but at the same time, I feel embarrassed because, you know, just coming without telling somebody.
Well,
I mean, because especially in this culture, you know, because in my culture, you know, you can arrive, you know, at any moment knock the door and the people are like, hey, how are you?
Right.
Classroom, blah, blah, blah. But here is one of the things that I wasn't sure if I was doing correctly because here you're supposed to call and to say, you know, am I way there? And you having me or whatever. I mean, be aware more than surprised. But I said, no, I'm going to do, you know, I'm going to see what's happened, you know.
Well, that's profound for me because at that point, I realized the depth and the level of trust that he had in what we had started.
Yes.
By the fact that he spent the time, spent the money, made the effort, went out totally on his own without, you know, any kind of support from me. I mean, I was blown away by that.
You know, and I learned that no matter what the distance is when you are committed with something, you need to follow, you know, and because sometimes it's like you just like thinking, I'm going to do it, or I'm going to, you know, but you don't take actions.
Right,
know?
yes. You can overthink and think yourself out of things a lot. Yeah.
And you don't take actions. And that's why, you know, sometimes you need to move. You need to move forward wherever you want. And for me, it was, for him, I feel like, you know, that the point in our lives were like, I think it's something that we can create. Right. You know, especially, you know, when you are like committed with to really have a good relationship, you know, and when you grow up with those values, you know, and sharing those kind of things, because I think for him it also has the same values, and I reinforce me all that kind of thing that I have inside. It's like when you are a person that you are going to develop your skills, but you still not finding the moment or the person that is going to push you. And he pushed me to do that. All those things that we are now sharing was pushing some part from him. Not pushing in a bad way, pushing and to give me the confidence to go out, to do this, to take a decision.
The thing that I have learned from Oscar is what the true quality of loyalty and unconditional love is. And, you know, after 22 plus years, it's the commitment to our relationship is not something I ever questioned. And, you know, through all the marriage stuff that was, you know, has been controversial over the years, that was never really important to us because, I mean, we've always lived our relationship a day at a time, and as long as we're growing, as long as it's working, we're there. And I mean, every relationship has, you know, bumps in it, but that level of loyalty and trust and unconditional love, I always tell people, for me, it's like we have a bedrock in our relationship that is a mile deep. And, the daily stuff, the whatever, is like weather on the surface.
Right.
It's funny, we don't really argue.
Okay.
Well, we argue, yeah, we have some arguments, yeah, but like he said, no, really.
Right.
I guess we
But,
do.
yeah, well, obviously,
Right.
we cannot be like everything like,
Right.
no, it's not, because it's not. We have arguments, but doesn't last more than a half day, or sometimes longer probably a day. But it's something that you can really, you can feel it. I mean, that is, you can know.
It's not comfortable, yeah.
And we talk. I mean, we back again to the issue wherever it was, and we realized that,
Well, yeah. Where does this even start?
Yeah,
If you can't remember, it's
yeah.
like, okay,
Right.
we need to let
And it's
this
not
go.
to find who has the fault,
Right.
It's just like the things happen, and we need to look at it, and we need to talk about it. And because sometimes it's uncomfortable that just like not talk or whatever, And it's like, let's go fix it. Let's go do it. And it comes naturally. Maybe both at the same time. And then, in the moment when we do that, but obviously one would be the first, but.
The truth is, I could have said it the first week that I met him, because that's really what I felt. I felt like, oh my God, this is the person that I've been waiting for. But I intellectualized myself out of that.
In the what, 3 days?
No, in the first week, I
Oh,
could
the
have
first
said
week?
that.
Really? Interesting. No, yeah, because I mean, for me, it would be so fast. And,
Oh, so
and
what
the
like
way.
that for you?
Well, I don't remember neither. I don't remember neither because it's something that, obviously, obviously everybody's different, but I just remember like not probably that quick for me. But it was important.
Right. You could have felt it, but you didn't
It was
say
important part of my life at that moment. I couldn't take it from my mind, but I don't know if I really loved you at that moment.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of a very short time for me too. Because I didn't know you, I need to treat you more, I need to know more about you. And that's why, with the period of time, even, we have 1 year no contact, but it's still in your mind, the remembering of the moments that we lived together. And that started building the relationship for me. And when we started, back again after that year, is when I realized little by little that you were important for me. And that way probably the person that I would like to spend, many years. And
All I know is-
But yeah.
All I know is handsome, Latin man, ocean in the background, sun setting. It's like, what's not to love there? Okay. So my question to you is, what song reminds you of me?
Oh gosh. It's interesting because, there are so many songs there that they're related with you in terms to specific moments that we, have been together, and especially in different times in our life, because there are some at the beginning and some in the middle and some in the afternoon, but maybe, oh gosh.
Pick one.
Yeah, I think that one remember you all the time is one from Sting. U2. There are two groups or singer that I remember. I don't remember if singing the because I cannot sing.
That's good. I'm good with both of those.
I'm very bad with remember the
titles.
lyrics, the titles. But it was Sting definitely and U2.
Okay.
Songs, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, my question to you is, what is the one thing about our relationship that makes you the happiest?
Wow. The thing that makes me the happiest is what I talked about earlier, the confidence and knowing that we're companions for the rest of our lives, you know, and no matter what happens, and we've been through a lot of shit, you know, especially recently, but that we're gonna be there side by side. You know, that makes me really happy and makes me feel safe. And, it allows me, empowers me to be able to do other things because I know that consistency is there.
Cool.
If you were to describe me as a superhero, who would it be?
Superhero.
And don't say Catwoman.
If I describe it as a superhero.
Superhero.
Yeah, I mean, superhero is not exactly like those characters on the kids they see, like Superman and all that. I mean,
Yeah,
superhero for me, you're a combination between Charles Chaplin and James Joyce.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Same kind of thing.
I'll
like
own that. I will live into that big time.
I
don't know a lot about James Joyce, but I know a lot about Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can mention that because, you know, Chris always surprised me with things about, you know, entertaining things, you know, and and for me, it's, you know, again, like, reminds me of his character of James Joyce in terms to intellectual speaking, you know, in terms to, I mean, no exactly like him as a writer. It's just like the combination of that part of he's a writer, or he was a writer, and you write some, you know, some stuff, but in combination with the art part and that intensity of or projects or things. What is your first impression of me? It's like, you know, maybe I know already because you said.
No, well, when I met, the very first time I met you on the beach, my impression of you was that you were, one of the things I loved was that you were kind of bohemian. I mean, aside from the physical characteristics and attraction, the thing that I noticed was that you were carrying a backpack that was full of books. And I thought, wow, man, this guy he's all about learning. I mean, he's all about reading and expanding. I mean, because some of the books that you had in your backpack, and you were explaining to me, they were like, I mean, not over my head, but just, I was like, wow, I mean, you have a real interest in self-growth, and that was one of the first things that impressed me.
It's an interesting question. This is a very cool question.
Okay.
Very interesting. What have we gone through together that we wish we hadn't?
That we wish we hadn't?
That's okay, the question for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing that comes to mind, like, immediately is we just lost our dog, our first dog. And we've been through a lot of traumatic things. I mean, not traumatic things. We've been through a lot of difficulties and struggles, but that was a pain, a kind of pain that we shared together that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, oh man, yeah.
And it was heartbreaking the situation was heartbreaking, but to watch Oscar, someone that I love so deeply, have to experience the pain, that kind of pain, and not be able to do anything to make that better. Mm-hmm. All I could do was just be there and receive it for him. And that's something I wish that we hadn't had to go through.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was very hard.
What is the most romantic thing that I've ever done for you?
I think one day when you surprised me, we took me to a park to watch a movie outside. And he prepared all the things, because that was one of those first times when I came here and to visit, and he prepared everything, the blanket, the Mexican blanket, you know, and we put it in the park and we went to watch a movie. He prepared hummus and cheese and grapes and I think a wine. He bought a wine also because I used to drink wine during that time. And we went over there and we sat in the grass, and he taken all this picnic stuff and watching a movie. I mean, for me, I can never get that experience in Mexico. I mean, I go to the movies all the time, you know, in different stages, you know, movie theaters or outside, but never open area. For me, that was my first experience, and especially with that time when we were dating, when we don't really decide yet to live together, or I think so, or we need to, or I just recently moved. But anyway, that was one of the romantic things. I mean, there have been many moments, but that's one of the most that I remember at the beginning, our relationship. And for me, that was part of the deal, you know, the decision to live together. But anyway, but he does all the time. I think he does many times, surprise me with many romantic things. And, you know, it's something that really, again, it's part of the Chaplin, James Joyce combination and with the romantic part, excuse me, and surprised me. He surprised me a lot, I think more than me to him. And I really enjoy it and appreciate it and I love it.
Aww.
I hope they're good surprises.
Yeah.
I know there's been some surprises.